Feel the heart. Experience the soul. Community Pulse.
But the beauty of it is, Sister Kadira, we have a premise from which we can teach, right? And that is to explain them about the Creator, right? And this is the missing dimension in sex today, the sacred perspective. We want to stop the teen pregnancies. We claim that this is the answer, the CSE is the answer to stop the HIV and AIDS, to stop the teen pregnancies, but we are missing the point.
Yeah.
Because the sacred perspective is not included here. We need to explain to our children and tell them that God is the creator of sex and it's connected to purpose. This type of curriculum is about sex education without purpose, without premise, right? God is the creator. So if I do speak to my child, Sister Kadira, at the little age of 2, 3 perhaps, if it's necessary, right? The beauty is, or the advice that we're giving you today is that Allah, God, is the creator of all creations, and plants and the flowers and the birds. So it's easy to take them into nature or take them into your garden, right? To teach children about the birds and the bees. That everything, explain to them about the oneness of Allah and that Allah has power over all things, right? And He is the cause of all things to come into being. So now here you teach the child to make a connection, right?
Yeah.
So that He created everything in pairs, right? The male and the female. And we have been made to reproduce our own kind. Right? And we could have little babies who become children and grow up to be like mommy and daddy.
It's a far cry from sitting your child down the night before they get married and giving them, a talk.
But this is the cycle of life, Sister Kadira.
It definitely is. And it's the way that it should be, Sister Magboeba. And the way you've introduced it as well. And I just want to take a couple of steps back to the book that you saw about it. Why is the church avoiding the conversation around it? Why is the mosque avoiding this conversation?
Absolutely, Sister Kadira.
That the masjid is supposed to be your place of learning. And this is something that it's natural. It is something that can be done decently, as we will prove within these segments and within this topic of discussion. But the manner in which Islam it's so beautiful in a sense that everything, that there is an alternative way to have the difficult conversations.
But also, why do we not have life orientation programs in our madaris, Sister Kadira? Why do children only have to recite, and
fluently and memorize
and tajweed? You know what I mean? Which is important.
Yes. But what about the tafsir?
Absolutely.
And that's where it comes through.
So,
Sister Magboeba Davids is in studio with me for today's edition of Social Justice. This is part 2 of Pathways to Sexual Courtesy. We are we're speaking about the spiritual aspect of having this conversation, as well as how to approach the conversation with your young children. Now, Sister Magboeba, just before we went for the break, you gave us, the practical examples of having the conversation with them when they start to become curious.
Yes. Yeah. So then explain to your children how wonderful it is, even that a little seed or egg which is kept as it grows, where the mother can protect and watch over and nourish as it develops. Right? Now you tell them about, where we come from. And the parent can actually fill in the details, right? So also show them how humans can be a loving family, right? A baby has a mother and a father, like baby animals. Right? Now, when I read this, Sister Kadira, this instruction, this is so much about what the family is all about.
Yes.
How can I teach my child if I'm living in this lesson if there isn't really a good relationship between the mother and the father.
Yeah.
So it depends a lot on also the relationship between husband and wife and mother and father.
Yeah.
But through, as you talk to them about sex and sexual relations, Sister Qadira, connecting them with Allah, with God, and with love, and with family relationships. So as the child grows older, right, explain more from time to time, but keep ahead of the gutter education.
Yeah.
Right? So, and here we need to also realize, Sister Qadira, that one of the greatest sins, the greatest crimes and tragedies of this world society is the great sins of omission.
Yes.
The neglect of parents to teach their children. Not only about sexuality and sex, Sister Qadira, it's most parents neglect to teach their children.
Yes.
We will rather pay somebody else.
Yeah.
Pay somebody else.
That's true. Actually.
We will even pay somebody to take care of them in our preschools, in our education schools,
Yes.
right? Foundation phase school. Yeah. But first, also, before we attempt to teach our children, especially about sexual courtesy, we need to educate ourselves. Always teach with love and show the affection. And at the same time, bring your child to absolute recognition of you as the parent, as the authority on the subject. Let them know that you as a parent is actually the authority on the subject. Right? But now when it comes, because that the child knows if he does get the message outside or from somewhere else, he knows he can actually come back to the parent and know that he will actually get the truth from the parent. So the child, like we earlier said, the parent is actually the safety net for the child.
Yes.
And also the child will actually also have an argument should he interact with other children.
Yes.
Right? So,
Sister Magboeba, what you describe sounds like an ideal world. The situation what the situation would be in the ideal world. But in reality, when young children come to their parents, they get told, these things are of no concern to you.
And you see, that is the attitude of the parent, because the parent will rather say that to the child, because I feel that because the parent feels inadequate to have a conversation with the child. So the parent will actually just brush it aside and actually come up with this particular answer.
Now, last week, Sister Magboeba, we also spoke about the importance of educating yourself first before you are able to have this conversation with your children. Now, I know that you've spoken about, and I just want to take a step to the side, because I feel it is something that we need to address. There is a gap in knowledge in the parental generation when it comes to this conversation, right? It's all good and well that we say, start introducing your kids to the concept of reproduction as it is in nature, because it is a natural thing. When they become curious, you go to the park and you see a baby squirrel. Where does the baby squirrel come from? Something like that. We do young plants and trees, and those are all the concepts of reproduction. But is it possible to have a conversation like that with your 3-year-old if you yourself were never introduced to those topics?
No, that is the thing, Sister Qadira. I just want to get us through this program. And next week, inshallah, I will really go into the anatomy, of the male. And because I feel when I do run my workshops, Sister Qadira, when you do speak about what messages was passed on to you by your mothers or aunts or society with regards to your menses, we get this just silence.
Yes.
So it says a lot.
It does.
Of what messages was passed on.
And perhaps we could also speak about, in an episode, we'll dedicate an entire episode to it. And I'll ask the listeners to send through, their questions, things that you wish you had known as a child, or things concepts you wish had been introduced to you as a child, so that we can give you a spiritually and I want to put I know when we say comprehensive, it's, holistic, we want to include everything, but we want to give you a spiritually comprehensive sex education. So that child within you has the answers to the questions that you would one day, or that you should be, answering for your own child.
Yes, because just the recent experiences, the Kajira, I did a course with teachers, training the trainers, and the guy who did the video, he said to me, Sister Magboeba,
Feel the heart, experience the soul. Community Pulse.